It's Ottoman time. The Ottoman Empire. Turkish Empire from 1299 to 1922 for about this-ish years. This article is about the empire for the Associated Caliphate. See Ottoman Caliphate. The Ottoman Empire. Historically and colloquially, which means this, by the way. The Ottoman Empire. Historically and colloquially known as the Turkish Empire, was an empire that controlled much of southwestern Europe, Western Asia, and northern Africa. Between the 14th and 20th centuries, the empire also controlled an eastern region of the Central Europe from the 16th to the 17th century. It was founded at the end of the 13th century in northwestern Anatolia, which is like a peninsula, the Turkish peninsula, by the way, in the town of Sagut, modern-day Belisic province, by the Turkoman tribal leader Osman I. After 1354, the Ottomans crossed into Europe and with the conquest of the Balkans. The Ottoman Beylik was transformed into a transcontinental empire by the Ottomans and ended the Byzantine Empire with the conquest of Constantinople in 1453 by Mehmed II. And Beylik is historically small Turkish principalities in Anatolia. So Beylik is under the reign of Suleiman the Magnificent, who is the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire from 1520 to 1566. And west of Suleiman the Lawgiver, in his realm, was the longest reigning Sultan of the Ottoman Empire from 1520 until his death in 1566. So for 66 minus 20, for 46 years. Under his administration, the Ottoman Empire ruled over at least 25 million people. Under the reign of Suleiman the Magnificent, the Ottoman Empire marked the peak of its power and prosperity, as well as the highest development of its governmental socio-economic systems. At the beginning of the 17th century, the empire controlled 32 provinces and numerous vassal states. Some of these were later absorbed into the Ottoman Empire, while others were granted various types of autonomy over the course of centuries. With Constantinople, modern-day Istanbul, as its capital and control of lands around the Mediterranean basin, the Ottoman Empire was at the center of interactions between the Middle East and Europe for 6 centuries. While the empire was once thought to have entered a period of decline following the death of Suleiman the Magnificent, this view is no longer supported by the majority of academic historians. The newer academic consensus posits that the empire continued to maintain a flexible and strong economy, society, and military throughout the 17th and for much of the 18th century. However, during a long period of peace from 1740 to 1768, the Ottoman military system fell behind that of its European rivals, the Habsburg and the Russian empires. The Ottomans consequently suffered severe military defeats in the late 18th and 19th centuries. The successful Greek War of Independence concluded the decolonization of Greece following the London Protocol of 1830 and Treaty of Constantinople of 1832. This and other defeats prompted the Ottoman state to initiate a comprehensive process of reform and modernization known as the Tanzimat. The Ottoman Empire reform period from 1839 to 1876 was a period of reform in the Ottoman Empire that began with the
Gülhane Hatti Serif
in 1839 and ended with the first constitutional era in 1876. The Tanzimat era began with a purpose not of radical transformation, but of modernization, desiring to consolidate the social and political foundations of the Ottoman Empire. Thus, over the course of the 19th century, the Ottoman state became vastly more powerful and organized internally, despite suffering further territorial losses, especially in the Balkans, where a number of new states emerged. The Committee of Union and Progress, the CUP, established the second constitutional era in the Young Turk Revolution in 1908, which was a constitutionalist revolution in the Ottoman Empire. The Committee of Union and Progress, CUP, an organization of the Young Turks movement for Sultan Abdul Hamid II to restore the Ottoman constitution and recall the parliament, which ensured the multi-party politics within the empire. From the Young Turk Revolution to the empire's end marked the second constitutional era of the Ottoman Empire in the Ottoman Empire's history, turning the empire into a constitutional monarchy which conducted a competitive multi-party elections. However, after the disastrous Balkan Wars, the now radical and nationalistic CUP took over the government in the 1913 coup d'état, creating a one-party regime. The CUP allied the empire with Germany, hoping to escape from the diplomatic isolation which had contributed to its recent territorial losses, and thus joined World War I on the side of the Central Powers. While the empire was able to largely hold its own during the conflict, it was struggling with internal dissent, especially with the Arab Revolt and the Arabian holdings. During this time, the Ottoman Empire government engaged genocide against the Armenians, Assyrians, and Greeks. And by the way, during the World War I, the Ottoman Empire was just a de facto empire at that point.
Empire's gone, so we can give the Jewish people a place to live. So the Ottoman Empire had been declining for centuries, and by the early 1900s, it was well on its way out. And World War I just kind of became the excuse to eliminate it as a de facto empire, but it had really been just progressively worse in terms of the people that led it. They had lost some wars in the Balkans against some much smaller nations, and it was on its way out. Hopefully the Arabs won't mind.
The empire's defeat and the occupation of parts of its territory by the empire's defeat and the occupation of part of its territory by the Allied powers in the aftermath of World War I, resulting in its partitioning and loss of its southern territories, which were divided between the United Kingdom and France. Like I said, it was just a de facto empire. A successful Turkish war of independence, led by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, against the occupying allies, led to the emergence of the Republic of Turkey in the Anatolian heartland of the abolition of the Ottoman monarchy. Name, main article, names of the Ottoman Empire. See also, Osman I, whatever name. The word Ottoman is a historical anglicization of the name Osman I, the founder of the empire, and of the ruling House of Osman, also known as the Ottoman dynasty. Osman's name, in turn, was the Turkish form of the Arabic name
Uthman.
In Ottoman Turkish, the empire was referred to as
Devleti Aliye-i Osmaniye Ailayik Ale Engizlit.
Sublime Ottoman State, or simply
Devleti Osmaniye Eyler Yu Lit.
Ottoman State. The Turkish word for Ottoman, Osmanli, originally referred to the tribal followers of Osman in the 14th century. The word subsequently came to be used to refer to the empire's military administrative elite. In contrast, the term Turk, was used to refer to the Anatolian peasant and tribal population and was seen as a disparaging term when allied to urban educated individuals. In the early modern period, an educated urban-dwelling Turkish speaker who was not a member of the military administrative class would often refer to themselves neither as Osmanli nor as a Turk, but rather as a Rumi or Roman, meaning an inhabitant of territory of the former Byzantine Empire, in the Balkans and Anatolia. The term Rumi was also referred to the Turkish speakers by the Muslim people of the empire and beyond. As implied, the Ottoman Turkish speakers, when this term began to fall out of use at the end of the 17th century, and instead the word increasingly became associated with the Greek population of the empire, a meaning that it still bears in Turkey today. In Western Europe, this means the Ottoman Empire, Turkish Empire, and Turkey were often used interchangeably, with Turkey being increasingly favored both in formal and informal situations. This dichotomy was officially ended in 1920-1923 when the newly established Ankara-based Turkish government chose Turkey as the sole official name. At present, most scholar historians avoid the terms Turks, and Turkish when referring to the Ottomans, due to the empire's multinational character.